are muted. I wonder if I can unmute you from here. I'm not able to unmute her. Can you unmute her, Giovanni?
It's
Hi,
my
Hattie.
camera on.
Hello.
Hello.
I am seeing Lilia Abron.
Abron.
Hello.
Abron. Yes.
Abron. Please forgive me,
That's
Lilia
okay.
Abron. I am seeing Fumani Mtembi. Hi, so nice to see you. Welcome.
Thank you.
And I would really like to see Hattie Carwell.
You can't see me?
No, I can't see you. And I'm missing also Tori
Oh, can
Livingston.
you turn video on? And my camera is off.
Tori, are you here?
I'm trying to
The sound isn't. Sound is a bit garbled. Hattie, if I can just be reassured that you're here, you're hearing me, and that we can hear you, then we can get started.
my video should be on now.
Okay. I'm seeing a green, just a solid green color.
Tori needs to be unmuted.
She's asking for Tori to be unmuted.
Can you see me, or do you need to see me now?
I cannot see any of you at the moment. I'm only seeing myself. I was seeing Fumani, but she's disappeared as well. I can see you now. Yes. Yeah, I think it would be great if the panelists are you know, if we can see the panelists and engage with them. Yes, I think during this COVID crisis, I've just become very tired of staring at blank screens. I'm wanting to see faces in this time of social distancing and social isolation.
Excuse me, is it that you cannot see any of us?
I can see Fumani. Yeah, I can see Fumani, and I can see that
Fumani is visible.
Yeah, Fumani is visible. Your voice is not great. So if there's anything that you can do to tweak it to make it better, that would be great.
It's not important to see me, it's important to see the other ladies.
Apron has disappeared again, and Tori, I have not heard her or seen her.
I see myself. This is Lilia Abron. I see myself.
Yeah, Lilia, I could see you earlier, but now I don't see you. But I think let's get started, Hattie. So I'm going to introduce Hattie, and then Hattie will then manage the panel. Sorry, it was a little bit of a long time to get to the start. So as I was saying, I am Amira Osman. I chair the local organizing committee for the International Conference for Appropriate Technology, which we are hosting in collaboration with the International Network for Appropriate Technology, and we're hosting it at the Tshwane University of Technology in Pretoria. So I would like to introduce Hattie, who is also a member of the organizing committee. Hattie Carwell is a founding board member of the International Network on Appropriate Technology. She also co-founded the Coalition of Hispanic, African, and Native Americans for the next generation of engineers and scientists. She is executive director of the Museum of African American Technology, Science Village in Oakland, California. She co-founded and chairs the Development Fund for Black Students in Science and Technology, a national endowment fund located in Washington, D.C., that awards scholarships to African American students pursuing technical degrees at historically Black colleges and universities. During her 36-plus-year technical career, she worked nationally and internationally for the U.S. Department of Energy and the International Atomic Energy Agency as a health physicist and nuclear safeguards group leader. I think by looking at Hattie's profile, one can see where her passion is. We are greatly honored, Hattie, to be working with you. Thank you so much for being willing to share your experience and expertise with us. And I also think that because of this woman's panel, we've themed the day today during this conference as the empowerment of women. So I think it's incredibly meaningful to us that all of you join us under Hattie's facilitation and guidance in this workshop. So I will leave the detailed introduction to Hattie, but welcome to Tori Livingston, welcome to Fumani Mtembi, and welcome to Lilia Abron, and I think I got it right this time. And welcome, and I'm handing over to Hattie.
Well, thank you very much. As you have been told, I am Hattie Carwell, and I will be moderating this workshop. It's very exciting to have 4 women from different parts of the world and even different parts of the United States participating in the same event. We have a range of experiences, a range of ages. We have women at various stages of their career. And I think you can see me now. So let's
we
get
can
started.
See you now. Welcome.
Just to give you a little insight of how we're going to go about this is we will have our 4 panelists tell their story. And then after that, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions. And I think you're really in for a treat. Our first panelist is Tori Livingston. She lives in the United States, in the state of Maryland. She used to live in California, where I reside, and most of her career, she has been on the East Coast. She is an innovator, an author, and a technical consultant. She consults in management. Her background is computer software. So, Tori, since we lost a few minutes, can you go ahead and start, please? Yes, yes. I can see your image. I hope they didn't leave us.
I can see Tori, and I can see that she's speaking. But Tori, your voice is very far away. And if you could find a, we can't hear you really. If there's a way that you could go move closer to your microphone or try and help us to hear you because we can't hear you. We can't hear you at all. I can't hear you at all. Maybe we can move on to someone else, Hattie, while Tori sorts out her microphone. Tori, we can't hear anything. We can see you very clearly, but we can't hear anything. Oh,
Tori, are you still on the phone?
sorry, let me see if I can get some technical assistance for this.
Tori, can you do your presentation without your slides? We can't see it. We can hear you okay. If at all possible, Tori, just tell your story. Just tell your story.
Can't hear.
Well, we'll come back to you, Tori, because we're losing time. Are our technical people still available?
Sorry, we are here. Bandwidth is really so that's why we're having a very bad.
Tori, I don't have control. I can't do it. No, it is not. It's telling your story, how you started your business. Tori, could you speak a little louder, please? Yes, it's the audience can't hear.
So I just finished an session in the agricultural and we have a microphone in order for you guys to be heard better.
So I put it very up.
Okay, our next speaker is Ms. Mtimbe, Kumi Mtimbe. She is the co-founder and director of Knowledge Pile Research and Innovation. And she is the leader of the Pile Energy Group. She has many credentials behind her name, and she's been to many different institutions of study. She has been at the University of Sussex, the University of Wit. She owns the largest fully Black-owned power company. And we won't take much more so that we've lost some time. We'll give her full time to describe how she got into business and was able to be so successful because the company has been very successful. Kumi?
Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me and see me and let me know if there are any challenges.
We
As
can
Ms.
hear
Hattie
you
said,
very clearly and we can see you very clearly. So please
okay.
proceed confidently.
Great. So as Ms. Hattie has said, my name is Fumani, and I guess I've been invited today to share a bit about my journey as business person and entrepreneur in South Africa's energy and development sector. I have been on this journey for over 10 years now. I started the Philly Energy Group in 2009 with 4 partners. And over the years, we've sort of grown what is now a diversified energy and company into a variety of subsidiaries within this group. So we have a renewable energy independent power producing entity that develops and operates solar farms and wind farms. And then we have what I look after directly on a day-to-day basis, which is Knowledge Billy. And Knowledge Billy is a research, development, and advisory enterprise. And our core business is really developing the economies of communities that have been on the periphery of South Africa's socioeconomy for, as long as South Africa has had to contend with colonization, apartheid, and then the phase that we're in now, which is a phase of rebuilding and reconstructing our society. And so my primary job is to work with communities of that nature, primarily, they're in South African terms, Black communities. And Black is an umbrella term for historically disadvantaged communities. My job is to work with those communities to find ways to create economic and self-sustainability, which is, in a sense, the primary instrument that was wielded against our communities to disempower them. So that's what I focus on. And of course, the research in that context supports our work. And the advisory is built onto that because over time we have learned a lot and are therefore in the position to advise a lot of private sector entities that are looking to do similar work, perhaps in communities that we don't work in. And so we also advise and do what is referred to as ESG and impact advisory work. So that's thinking about the environment, society, and governance, and finding strategies to make the private sector impactful. So that's what I primarily look after. Attached to our business is also a fund management entity, which is an affiliate company of ours, Bayaka, and we also have a business referred to as Billy Natural Energy. In sum, our business strategy, as I've said, has evolved over time, but our primary driver has really been around, I guess, ourselves from an identity perspective. And what I mean is that we've been concerned with young Black people and what our future looks like. And in trying to articulate that in the context of a business, we endeavored to create a business that would contribute to the infrastructural development of the country, hence the power component. And along the journey, we learned the importance of, raising our own capital in order to do the things that we care about, hence the affiliate entity Bayaka. And then core to ultimately implementing the change that we want to see as the work that we do in Knowledge Billy, which is work that ultimately happens within communities. Primarily those communities are host to our renewable energy facilities, but we also work in mining communities. And the end goal, as I've said, is to revive economies and sustain them over time and create self-sustenance, I think, amongst Black communities. So that's who I am, and that's what I've been doing for the past 11 years now. Ms. Hattie?
Hattie, let me just make sure you're unmuted. Hattie, please proceed.
Yes. You are finished.
Hattie, you have a very serious problem with your connection. I'm now very convinced that it is not from our side, because we could hear Fumani Mtembi very clearly. I'm now very.
Are we ready to go to the next speaker?
I don't think she's hearing me. Okay, we can move to the next speaker, Hattie.
They cannot hear me.
We can hear you now. Please
Can you hear
proceed.
me now?
Yes, we can. You can proceed.
Okay. I was asking, are we ready for the next speaker?
Yes, please proceed with the next speaker.
Are we ready for Dr. Abram? Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. I think we can move to Dr. Abron.
Yes, I would like to introduce Dr. Abram. Dr. Abram is a very experienced businesswoman. She's been in business for more than 40 years with peer consultant. Aside from her achievements with her business, we'd like to congratulate her on a recent honor. She was elected to the National Academy of Engineering in the United States, which is a very high honor for anyone in their field to be appointed to that society. Dr. Braun has done work in South Africa. Her background is in development. And so I will let her continue telling her story. Dr. Braun.
Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you, Ms. Carwell. And the name is real easy. It's Abron, A-B-R-O-N. So we kind of slide through the first A. Let's see, where do I get started on my journey? I think my journey started, is it clear? Because I'm getting an echo.
I am hearing you
I
very
can hear you
clearly.
clearly.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you. I think my journey started when I was in graduate school. After I got my master's degree in sanitary engineering, that's what they called it then, back in 1968. I wanted to just stop there and work for a
I
municipality.
cannot hear you now,
And so my first job
doctor.
was,
Um,
can you
I,
hear me now? I'm
I,
just,
I can hear you very clearly from my side.
okay. Thank you, because I have headset on and everything, so I'll just keep talking. So I worked for the Kansas City Water Department out in the plant, operating one of the processes for treating drinking water for the city of Kansas City. And then I worked for another municipality in a very large wastewater treatment plant operation, the Metropolitan Sanitary District of Chicago. And after about a year of that, I sort of became somewhat disenchanted. So I decided I wanted to go back to graduate school, and my mom was pushing me to go back anyway. So I went back to graduate school, and in 1972, I completed my PhD in chemical engineering. And by getting a PhD, you sort of, in the US in those days, define your track. If you are a PhD, you have basically said you're going to stay in academia, which is what I had intended to do. So I worked as a university professor at Tennessee State University, Vanderbilt University, and Howard, all in the civil and environmental engineering programs. And I worked in academia from about 1975 to 1980. And the entire time that I was working in academia, I was also in the summers and on the side working in consulting firms doing environmental engineering. My specialty is environmental, even though my PhD is chemical engineering. When I was in graduate school, there was not a PhD in environmental as yet. So my PhD is chemical engineering, but my specialty is environmental engineering. Anything that has anything to do with pollution control and abatement, environmental quality and control, protection of the health and welfare of the environment. So that's what I taught for about 8 years. Then I got the bug and I decided, you know what? I think I want to start my business because there were no minority engineering firms in the US at that time that were focusing strictly on the environment. Most of them were civil engineering consulting firms that had a group that did environmental, because we really are part, in a way, of the civil engineering program, because that part, the civil engineers in that side, were what they call the municipal engineers. So water, wastewater, trash, anything like that, that was municipal engineering. But we have expanded and broadened now to accommodate water, air, land. So we work across the board in protecting the environment. My firm that I started in, when did I start? In 1978. We strictly focus on water, wastewater, stormwater, hazardous waste remediation, and now we do a lot of work in energy efficiency, energy conservation, and renewable energy. So we design and oversee the installation. We don't install, and then operate solar energy power plants. And we have about 8 megawatts of solar power operating now on government rooftops in the District of Columbia. Because we are environmental engineers, we know how to deal with problems of the environment. And I'll tell you a little bit quickly about how I ended up in South Africa. I was looking for places to expand the business, and I thought at that time I needed to go someplace where people spoke English, which is all around the world, but at that point I wasn't that sure, and that they did not mind doing business with a woman and a Black woman. So there were not that many places, but we looked around. And then I had the opportunity to go to South Africa for a visit, and this was before President Mandela became president. And I saw opportunity there, but I was looking at it from the standpoint of pollution control and abatement. And I knew that it was heavily polluted from a lot of the mining that was going on, and the acid mine drainage was not being taken care of. The gold slags were just there. So there was a lot of work to do if South Africa was going to become a tourist attraction, as it said it wanted to be. So I thought I would go to South Africa and see if we could get involved with the Chamber of Mines and work on the contamination issues they were having. When I went back again, President Mandela had become president and the housing program was starting. And I looked around and I saw all of these houses, substandard houses that were going on. Because of the Reconstruction Program, and President Mandela had set aside 5% of the GDP to get his homeless families into formal housing. And I looked at what was going on and I said, this is all wrong. What are people doing? You know, why aren't they taking advantage of the sun that the good Lord has given them? And why aren't they designing these homes properly? And the more I got involved, I just said, you know, I know how to do this and I know how to do it better. So at that point, they had the Gore and Becky Binational Commission, which was an association of the two vice presidents, Vice President Gore and Vice President Mbeki. And every 6 months, a group of South Africans in the government would come to the U.S. 6 months later, the U.S. would go over to South Africa in an exchange of ideas in terms of trying to help. So they had a binational housing program. So I went to Secretary O'Leary and I said, you know, we know how to design these houses better. As environmental engineers, we're not architects, we're scientists, we're engineers. We can work with the architects, but we must work with the people because the people have to decide what it is they want and how they want it within the amount of money that we have. So under the Gore and Becky Binational Commission, we got involved with the Kuchanan, and I'm not pronouncing it correctly, I'm very sorry, in the Northern Cape province in Halishiwe. We worked with that community. They wanted to be the first energy efficient township, and we got about 1,000 of their homes built. They built them. They are passive solar design. They operate exactly the way they are supposed to operate. They got a lot of accolades, and from that opportunity there in 1998, we are still working in South Africa, but during that time, from then to about year 2000, 2010, we put up the Sustainable Housing Program, as we call it, in Cape Town, we worked in Kuchanan, we have houses in Durban, all over projects, but we worked with the people. We're now out in the far northern Cape Province, Kais, and we are putting up solar panels on informal housing and doing a tremendous amount of work in informal housing. And now we're also working on ablution facilities to deal with trying to maintain cleanliness, bathing, proper sanitation to work with the communities in terms of dealing with COVID-19. So that's sort of my story. I'm in the US. My partner, Douglas Guy, Motusi is the name they have given him. He runs the operation in South Africa. I run it here, and I'm happy to talk with you in the chat rooms about how I got started. But that's sort of a nutshell of where I am, what I'm doing. We've been in business 43 years. And it's been a journey, but I've enjoyed it. And I will wait till we get in the chat room to give you more. Thank you. Thank you, Hattie. I'm finished.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Tori, are you ready? What, Tori, could you just tell them what you did? Tori.
Tori, you are unmuted now. You may proceed.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, at last. Welcome.
Oh, great. And so let me start video as well. Okay, great.
Wonderful. I'm glad that we're hearing you. Earlier we couldn't.
I am too. And so I think I started on my background. And just went into, I'm echoing Hattie, so I'm going to disconnect from you now. And you should want to cut off your phone as well. That's the feedback loop. Okay? And you guys can still hear me fine, right? Oh, this has been a challenge.
Yes, I've muted Hattie and we can hear you now very clearly.
Great. Okay. So I'm going back into my background. I'm a graduate of Tuskegee University and the University of California. I'm a native of Chicago, Illinois, born and raised there. I started out my engineering journey back in the 80s, working for companies like Sandia National Laboratories, Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, and various private industries. I've worked on the Human Genome Project for Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory and was a part of the team who helped sequence chromosome 22. I basically, while working there, I picked up a lot of software engineering skills that allowed me to go forward and start programming web-based applications for myself and just different companies. I've worked for companies like America Online, eBay, some of the private industries, done work for the U.S. Department of Transportation and other organizations, which allowed me to basically hone in on my software and then my IT project management skills. I am basically when Hattie mentioned the author, my first love in life was teaching. And so I teach an online STEM program to students, teaching them how to be engineers, what different engineering fields are about. Electrical engineering is a series that we're working on right now with some students out of Baltimore. I founded ACES back in 1995 and another nonprofit organization. And so basically, I'm just going to make that one real quick, and hopefully, Hattie, we can get into this second session because I've done a lot. I consider myself a Jacqueline of all trade, master of one. And with that, I get into a number of different skills and do a whole host of things. It'll take me a long time to go into my whole entire background. I'm a mother of 7 children, 4 biological and 3 with my partner now, Mark Livingston. And just happy doing what I do. And we'll be more than happy to answer any questions afterwards. And that's pretty much my spiel, Hattie. I'll end it there. Okay, you hear it? I'm going to
Seeing one of our panelists. Okay, could Tori, before you go, we're going to have a round of questions now. And so if the audience can put their questions in the chat room, I'll pick them up. And if it's directed to anyone in particular, feel free to answer. There might be some questions that are open to everyone. But while we're doing that, Tori, could you check on Rosalie and try to get in touch with her? She may have had a problem getting in.
Okay, Rosalie.
Rosalie Savannah.
Okay.
Look at the emails.
I will. Already.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I don't see any questions, so I'll start it off. And this question is open to anyone. What brought you to the decision that working a 9-to-5 was not for you, that you were better suited for conducting your own business? Unmute if you'd like to speak to that question, please.
Hattie, I'll give that a stab. I think for me, it wasn't so much the 9-to-5, and I say this all the time about entrepreneurship. At this point, I am an employee of our business, and I'm required to show up as someone who does work a 9-to-5, if not 9-to-9. I think the driver for me was recognizing that the things that I'm passionate about were not achievable in the context of the structure of sort of South African corporate life. I was privileged to work in a really great business unit within one of the large banks in South Africa. That was my first job. But even in the context of the work that we were doing, which I did think had developmental possibilities, I felt certain constraints around, firstly, thinking about business for me, the first thing has been, how do you create an environment in which Black people can thrive? And then related to that, how do we collectively as a team do work that is meaningful and transformative in the lives of Black people? And I think we've been trying to solve for both things. So it hasn't, for me, it wasn't so much that I couldn't work a 9-to-5, but it was really about imagining a different possibility, a different kind of environment, and then realizing at some point that I had to create what I was imagining, because it wouldn't happen spontaneously, nor were the existing dominant institutions motivated to necessarily contort themselves into what is something we hope is going to be the future of business and just institutional life in South Africa. So that was my motivation.
Good, thank you. Would someone else like to speak to the question? And I understand that our missing panelist has joined us, Rosalie Savanta. And so after we do a round of questions, we'll circle back and give her an opportunity to share her background. She's one of the panelists who's just starting in business. And so she will be our segue when we go on into the chat rooms to pursue various aspects of starting and running a business. Anyone else? Dr. Abran? Tori? Okay. Can we get our technical assistance to...
Yes, Hattie, are you wanting to include someone else on the panel?
Yes, I was looking in the chat. If you can look in the chat, it said something about Rosalie.
Rosalie, then could you just give me an opportunity to get the technical person to add Rosalie to the panel? Maybe in the meantime,
Yes.
I could just make a few comments and ask a question.
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you. So someone will help us to get Rosalie on the panel. Really appreciate it. First of all, I'm absolutely fascinated by the background of the people, of the ladies that have spoken. Thank you so much. Really inspired by it. It seems that there's a real concern, like with Fumani, real concern. I think she said it like raising our own capital or something like that, and our looking at ourselves and our identity. Of course, I don't mean me. I'm nowhere near a young black. I'm black but not young. But this focus, looking at business, but at the same time looking at social responsibility, and linking all of that with the production of infrastructure. And I have a question for Fumani. Like, there seem to be small initiatives. I know the work you do. I mean, I can't say it's small, but there seem to be initiatives at a scale that is still not sufficient, and they're fragmented initiatives. It's still not at a scale to achieve real change in our environment in South Africa. So that is something that, how do you think we can harness these kind of initiatives that you're doing and implement them at a much wider scale? With regards to Lydia Abron, I'm also fascinated because I have a particular interest in housing. And I can relate some of what you said to what our keynote speaker from Brazil just now spoke about acknowledging informality and acknowledging the settlements where people live and acknowledging them as real homes. And the fact that you put solar panels in informal housing and look at providing services to those informal settlements is a form of acknowledgement in my mind. But at the same time, one of the things that I struggle with as an architect who also has an interest in housing and informality is the fact that our cities end up being very sprawled and low density, which further exacerbates disadvantage. So how would you see your kind of initiatives really making an impact in achieving higher density, more consolidated kind of environments? And how could we harness the kind of skills that you have in doing that? I'm fascinated by your background, so thank you so much for sharing that, and how you got into academia, and then this issue of environmental engineering being your real interest. I heard a quote once from a mechanical engineer that fascinated me, because he refers to himself as a mechanical engineer whose job it is to reduce the reliance on mechanical systems in buildings. And so I kind of have a feeling that you also think as broadly in a way. Tori, I'm just again really interested to know more. I actually think you spoke quite briefly. You've mentioned the agencies you've worked for, you've mentioned your various skills, but I would actually love it if you could elaborate a little bit more. And we're going to get Rosalie as a member of the panel immediately. I'm seeing a question, Hattie, in the chat. Yes, so I'll hand over to Hattie and the panelists.
Let's give the panelists an opportunity to respond to some of your remarks, and then we will go on to the next question. Romani?
Sure. I mean, I think the question posed to me is around scale, and I agree. So just to give you context, we have a portfolio of 800 megawatts of power plants around the country, and we attach our work to those power plants. So that's 8 power plants, and therefore you can think of that as 8 communities. And then we work, as I said, for clients outside of the Billy Energy Group, and those clients are predominantly in the mining sector, but they would represent probably another 5 communities, well, 5 to 10, depending on how we define them. I think for me, the scale question is not one that I'm trying to solve now, and that's because I come to this work from a sort of a macroeconomic and political policy perspective. And I think what I'm very sensitive to about the history of development is that a lot of really big ideas have been detrimental because they simply weren't firstly rooted in community and sufficiently tested to demonstrate evidence of their success. So if, you know, in the context of our work, we have a theory of change, and our theory of change is around, I'd say, 3 key things. You know, it's about capable people, so investing in human capabilities, working within an enabling environment, and that's what brings us to social infrastructure work at the community level. So, you know, we are focused on water, power, and ICT. In terms of creating an environment that is enabling for development. And then finally, sort of industrializing those communities in order to direct all that energy, you know, to work within that community. So practically, if we invest in a young person to go to university, our ideal situation is not for that young person to then leave the community and go to, you know, one of the 3 or 4 big cities in South Africa, but to have a home in their community in order to grow it and to contribute to the complete social and economic life of those communities. That work and the way in which we're approaching it is, I have to admit, on some level experimental. And that's not to say there's an overt desire to experiment and potentially fail, you know, in the context of people's lives. But I do think we must be clear in doing work that is about social progress, that we're also learning as we go. And that's why I'm less concerned today about scale. Perhaps in 10 years, I may have that kind of desire for scale, but at that point, we'll have a lot more data that says, you know, our theory of change bears true and is supported by a ton of evidence from a variety of communities that range in terms of, you know, the sort of proximity from an urban center, very rural to peri-urban, and ultimately township communities, which are, you know, sort of similar to, well, let me not liken them, they are close to urban centers, but, you know, previously designated for Black people. But that's what we're doing. You know, we're in the process of experimenting and, you know, working with, you know, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 people at a time in different communities, I wouldn't have the confidence tomorrow to say to the state or to some large donor, replicate this and potentially impact the lives of 10 million people. The reason that we couple research and development is so that the day that we come to a bigger platform, we can back it up with science. I think that for me is good development and responsible development, and so that's how we're going about it. But when we arrive at that point, I would absolutely love to say, to people with much bigger pockets, let's partner and let's do this on a big scale, going potentially even beyond South Africa. That is the goal, but I'd like us to just do development better than it's been done in the past.
Okay, thank you very much. I think Rosalie is in the wings, but I'd like to ask one more question. In the chat room, there's a question about the use of solar energy. Does anyone have any thoughts on the prospects and the future of solar in Africa? We have lots of sun. So anyone have information about plans to maximize the utilization? Anyone? Is Dr. Abron still with us? She mentioned solar and the use of it in housing, that we may be surprised how beneficial it is, because I know in the United States, when you think of solar, you think of some grandiose.
Where's Abron gone? Sorry, everyone. I'm just trying to find Dr. Abron.
Well, we can come back to it. Can we turn to Rosalie now?
Hello, everyone. I hope you can all see me. I do apologize for the back and forth. Just to get confirmation, can you see me? Can you hear me? Am I clear?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm Rosalie Sabanda. Yes, I am the founder and 100% shareholder and manager of a business that I founded. My business name is Organic Waste to Energy. The acronym of my business is O. My previous background has been in financial. I've been in the financial industry for over 28 years. I've held leadership positions where I was a regional executive, sat on the regional executive board of various geographical areas, looking after sales teams. In 2018, when my job role became redundant, I was left with an option to either take a lower position because of the bank was restructuring, or alternatively to actually go out into the unknown and do, what awaited me. And at that time, I decided to take the unknown route. And lo and behold, the unknown route has actually led me to my business, formulating my. From that perspective, I had the years of experience in running and understanding a business and its finances and, lending and giving out money to businesses. And now I sit actually owning one. And the reason why I've chosen the renewable energy space is because I looked to the future. I looked at the banking world and could see that the banking world will soon be a very much automated space. And I needed to see where's the future going. At the time, I was doing my MBA in leadership and sustainability. My apologies. I was actually doing my project work. And so that led me into a bit of research. I researched some more. And just before that, 2 years ago in the Western Cape, of the Western Cape of South Africa in Cape Town City, we had experienced 2 years of drought. And that drought actually, started, we were getting to a stage where we're day zero, which was meaning that there would be no water in the taps. I started questioning myself in terms of what is my carbon footprint? How did I perhaps indirectly contribute to this? And that led me to, start researching more about climate change, more about weather patterns. And that was also heightened by Greta Thunberg and Donald Trump. So on one hand, there was a young girl who's almost my daughter's age, speaking to climate change. And on the other end is an elderly, man, president at the time, speaking to climate change with different perspectives. And here I am, middle-aged, sitting in the center and wondering, what am I going to do about it? How am I going to lay a foundation for the future of the Greta Thunbergs to walk over and continue to have a good future? So my business is actually looks at how do I go about changing food waste and converting it into energy. So that's the business. It's a renewable space. It's whilst it's solely based on waste, it also looks at how do we convert waste into food energy. Into energy, sorry. And at that time as well, there's been lots of legislation going around within the Western Cape regarding airspace, regarding new policies that are being, sent out by the Department of Environmental Affairs, where by 2027 there should be no food waste into the landfill. And I'm sure we are all aware of the impact of food waste on the climate. And we're all aware of the impact of food waste and how it contaminates other recyclables. And more particularly our waste pickers, who are the poorest of poor people, who go into the landfill to try and separate different items of, recyclables and have to deal with the yucky effect of food waste. So that's the business, always generally based on taking food waste, converting it into a renewable form of energy. Our ultimate gain or our ultimate goal is to actually end up feeding biogas into smaller grids, national grids. We all know that we have an energy crisis within South Africa. I appreciate the other facts, the other aspects of renewable energy, the wind, the solar, but I still feel that renewable energy speaks to an infrastructural change which is caused by businesses, that are failing to change their models. And those models need to be changed and upgraded and become agile, as I think Fumani has mentioned, just to make sure that we are actually, we're changing with the times. And in changing with the times, we are also adding on that effect of the planet. The planet has basically taken care of us for billions and billions of years. The least that we can actually do is change our behavior in the way we dispose of all the different stuff that we don't use, and the number one aspect of it being food waste. So that's just basically me in a nutshell. I'm sure that in the different spaces we will get to ask questions.
Okay, do we have, thank you very much. I'm glad you were able to join us, and I do apologize to the audience for some of the difficulties, but we have managed. We have been persistent, and I think we're doing quite well in terms of sharing the journeys the various speakers have had. And I'd like to ask our technicians, how are you going to separate us into the individual rooms in which we can focus more on how to develop your idea for a business, one. Also, the business plan. You must plan well. You get what you plan. If you don't plan, you don't get very much. And so most and foremost, once we have an idea and a plan, we need to decide how we can finance that business. And we must be very honest with ourselves. We can gloss over how much it will cost or the various locations where we can get financing. But one thing we must be true, we must truly understand what it will cost, not only in dollars, but in time. The difference between the 9 to 5, most times you can turn it off at 5. With businesses, as you know, it takes a little bit longer, and whatever it takes is what you must do to be successful. So I asked our technicians to direct us into our various spaces. Just to give you a sample, I and Rosalie will talk about generating the idea for the business.
Okay.
So do they just basically just switch screens, like if you have a presentation to do, they don't have to put you in specific rooms. You can just share screens. Is that more convenient, or do they have actual rooms to go in? I thought
Yeah,
this was
so
a broader one. Go ahead.
well,
They have to let them give the instructions.
speaking to Giovanni, thanks Hatik, Kawel for that. So what will happen is we have 3 separate rooms we can use for the breakaway time now. So you can tell me how you want to split, then I can send you the links for the different rooms where you can go to have a separate conversations.
Well, can one group stay in the room that we're in now, since we're at the end of the day?
That is fine. Yes, that's fine. So what
So
I'll do? Yes.
I propose that Rosalie and I stay in the room that we're currently in. And are you going to email the link to the rooms?
I'm going just to put the links right here. So if you guys say I'm
In
going
the
to put the
chat.
links, yes, you have to the chat box right now. So I'll put the links for room B. Okay, how many rooms do you need for the separate conversation? How many rooms do you need? How many rooms do you need?
We need a total of 4. So as I said, I and Rosalie will stay in the room that we're in. B, Tori, will you take room B? Tori, unmute.
Yes, I will, and
Tori.
that's for business planning. Yes.
Yes, business planning, room B. And then, Umi, come on. You are going to be in C on financing. So will you take room C? Honey,
Sure, I will. So I'm just looking at the link and trying to figure out how to get there.
and the last room, room D, will be for Dr. Abran. She's going to manage the concerns. Okay, I have my idea, I have my plan, I've gotten some funding, but I'm having problems. How do I manage? First of all, stay cool and calm. Panic, and remember that you're in it for the long haul. So, room D, Dr. Abran, is that acceptable?
Yeah, but I don't see it in the chat box.
I think he's
Okay.
about to put it in.
Yes.
So I just wanted to the B's. I typed in the B, C, and D as far as the topics, sir, and hopefully you can connect the links to those.
Okay, so I'm going to just post the links now here. So just make sure before you leave, you just copy the link and then go to that room if you are going to room B, C, or D. That's fine.
Dr. Abram, put your email address in the chat for me.
Yes.
What?
Can you put your email address in the chat for me?
Okay.
Okay, you can go ahead with the links. Thank you. Did Hattie drop off?
Sorry, not yet.
No, Hattie did not drop off.
Oh, okay. You're not showing. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
I'm just gonna put my. I need the links now quickly.
So to the attendees, pay attention. Will they enter the room all with the same link?
No, I'm busy now getting the links for the other rooms now. I'll post it the links to the chat box just now.
Okay.
Okay.
Are there any questions while we're waiting for that post? Are there any additional questions? And the panelists can feel free to ask each other questions as well.
Okay. I miss, is it Mapov? Can you say your last name? She had asked that I elaborate a little bit more on the work that I was doing as far as my business. And it's basically doing consulting now. I do agile project management to various organizations. And from the agile world, I've been known throughout the industry as helping teams to get up and running and become very successful quickly. I've taken that agile project management skill and written a book called The Transformation Brokers, where I'm showing communities how to select a particular project to work on and to come together in a systematic way to solve changes within their community. And so that's an important work that transcends from the business to actual work. And I think he's getting the links in. He has D available.
Tori, could you tell people the name of the
But
book and how to
D doesn't take me into a room.
Uh-oh.
It takes me back to a sign in. And I can't click on a join or anything. It just takes me back to the sign in page.
Hattie, is it possible if we continue the difficulties with this that we just go into the presentations and do a screen share and stay in this room?
So what you need to do, okay, just need to copy these links. Then you need to leave this meeting and then go to a different room link. So I posted room D so far and room B. I'm going to post room C now.
So you need to copy the link.
Yes, you need to
and
drop this meeting,
go
then go to the different meeting. Just make sure you first copy the link and then leave this meeting you are in now. So
Dr. Ebron, I think he is that we have to leave this meeting in order to get to the next one.
that's correct.
Here.
Yes.
But copy the link first. Now, is there a password? Is there a password to go with the link?
It's all the same password. It's ICAT 2020 as the password for all the links.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so as you clicked on the link to come to this room, leave the room, paste, take the link, and then click on the link, and that will put you in the new room. Is that okay?
So just give me a second.
Hattie, just on my
Is
side.
it clear to everyone how we're proceeding?
Hattie, on my side, I just want to indicate that room C is in a sense not open. I've attempted to enter, and it's saying that the meeting hasn't started.
You can open. You can open it because you have the proof.
Fufu,
You can open it, yeah.
are the rooms ready that we are putting up the link to?
Yeah, just give us 2 minutes or so. We are busy now opening the other rooms as well.
Okay. Okay, like I said, in the meanwhile, we can continue to dialogue. There's one thing that I wanted to propose to the panelists. Is there any interest of continuing the dialogue and working together after today? Money?
Yes, I'd like to say there is on my side. I'm not too sure with the rest of everybody else, but I'd like to engage with the ladies that have spoken. There's so much different experience, a rich, diverse experience and background that one could actually enjoy and leverage off. So I wouldn't mind actually.
Okay, Rosalie.
Sure. I'd say the same, Hattie. I think that was Rosalie, and I'd say the same. I've just been trying to figure out the other room, but absolutely.
Okay, and I would like to see at the end, maybe stop maybe 10 minutes before time is up and come back to this room so that we can wrap up. Is that agreed?
That's okay, Hattie. I'm with you. I'm not too sure that the
Okay,
other
great.
ladies they've left already, so I don't know if they've got the message
No,
actually.
Rosalie is here. You are here. I will see if the technician can send them a message that 10 minutes before they complete their session, before we all go, we come back together so that we can lead as one. I only see the two so far. And I guess the participants are waiting to see as well, so they know which room they will be going to as well. I think it's really amazing just to have all of us together. I think this is a first. It's a first for me so I must say it's an honor to be in the presence of both of you, Rosalie and Kumani.
Thank you, Hattie. The same here. I see there's somebody in the chat room. I'm not too sure. It's Dawn Crutchfield. She's actually asked a question to all the panelists, and she's just asking to see if anyone has received her message. Do you see the message,
Yes.
Hattie?
Okay, yes, I do. Are you receiving my message? I see that.
Okay. So all the rooms are now on. They are now open. So I'm sure that they should be able now to join the different rooms. I mean, room B.
Okay.
Yes.
Hopefully, can we send a message to each room that
Yes.
10 minutes before our quitting time to come back to this room so we can all leave together?
Okay. Do you mean 10 minutes before 5 p.m. SA time? It's now 24 past 4.
Yes.
So,
So 5 minutes before 5 p.m. to
okay.
come back to this room.
All right. I'll
And
do
if
it
they
right
don't
now.
have the, and put the link in there so they can come back.
Okay. I'll do that now.
And you have one more person to post.
One more person to post.
Money is still with us. She is finance. That's room number 3. I mean, C.
Yes. So all the links are posted here. Room C is there as well.
Because her name still shows on our screen.
So he or she must leave here and then join room C. I cannot. Oh, I can also expel
Okay.
him, but he must just
Money,
leave.
are you still with us?
I'm still here, ma'am. I'm still here. Giovanna is still here.
So on my side, I've opened the link to room C, but I'm still waiting for room C to be opened. So I'm sort of waiting on that. I don't know if I need to hang up in order for that to happen.
Yeah, you can just start again the process. Just close that browser or that window and click
Okay.
and click again on the link. You should be able to join the.
And how are you letting the attendees know?
About the time.
No, where to go?
Well, before they left, they should have already seen all the links here. You did the splitting, right? So I think they both know which room they are going to. I posted all the links of every room here, so I think they should have seen all the links before they move to their room.
Yes, Tori.
I was unable to get in the room, and then it locks me out of the panelist section, so I'm able to join your room again.
Okay. Bofu, the room number B never opened for the business plan. It
Room
did not open,
number
and
B.
Tori got locked out.
Can you please ask them to try again, because now I can see it even here. It's open right now. I can see it on my side.
And please try again.
Yeah, just to try again to log in there. It is open.
Okay. Try again. Now, if I look at the list of participants, can I tell whether there's anyone going to be in our session?
Yes, you can tell. So I can see in room D, I can see we have Lilia Abron is already in room B, but she's only herself now.
She's supposed to be in D.
She's in room D now.
Lilia should be in D as in David.
Yes, it's in D. She's in D. That's right.
Okay, great,
She's
great.
in room D.
Sounds
Yes. And in room B, I see Pop symbol is there now. Only himself.
Someone is saying I can't see any links in the chat for other rooms. And they have disappeared.
Yes, hello.
I don't know who.
Hi. Hello. Yes, hello. We can hear you.
I'm saying an attendee has put in the chat box that they cannot see the other rooms.
Okay, I'm going to copy it again and post again on the chat box to everybody.
Okay.
Everyone. so they can see they can see it now. It's now posted again for everyone to see.
There's someone named Myron, and I think it's Myron Williams. There's a link that's showing up now. Yes, I can see a link now. Okay, that person has been satisfied. And Humani has left us. And Rosalie, it's just the two of us.
Yes, it's just the two of us. I'm here. I put on my video.
Okay. I am having some difficulties with my video, so I may have to stay a little.
That's okay, Hattie. Do we have?
customers?
Yeah, I was going to ask the same.
Find out whether we have any customers.
I was going to ask the same, Hattie. You're ready to fire away. I'm not too sure. Are you able to
Down
see?
there, I keep in participants. And
Can you see them?
I see you and me and the technician.
Okay, so it's just the three of us.
Oh, let's see, attendees. There are 10.
Okay.
There are 10 people.
Yes, you are very clear. We
So,
can hear you.
Tofu, can our attendees hear us now?
I
There
can
seems to
see
be
you.
10. Yes. Can you not hear me?
I can hear you, Hattie.
Yes. I'm asking
The attendees,
Tofu
okay.
whether attendees can hear. I see that there are 9 now. We lost one. And I don't see Tofu. I don't know where he went. It says he's speaking, but I'm the one speaking, and you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can.
Could someone, if you are an attendee, could you put a message in the chat so we know you're here and we can begin discussing your ideas of where you are in the process with your planning for business. We've lost one, yet another one.
I think Dawn had asked a question, and if in the panel before, if I can repeat it, if I can recall what she mentioned she has a 9-to-5 contract job and looking to go into business. Is that correct, Dawn?
Yes, Doris. Okay, I'll ask about it. Okay. Give me a minute.
They're not saying, I can hear them chattering in the background.
Okay. Pofu, can you hear me, Pofu?
I can hear you, Hattie.
In room B, there is no screen capability. The person in room B needs to be able to show
To share.
a PowerPoint.
Okay, I'll make it happen now. I'll do it now for them. Room B, right?
Okay. Room B, he's coming.
Like I'm in your room. I have the should have gone to the ICAT conference.
Well, can't you hear me through the? Hold on. Well, he's coming to attend to you. We have a question going on to us, so hold tight, please. Hold tight. Okay, Rosalie, can you repeat the question?
I think there was a question by one of our attendees, Dawn. I'm not sure is Dawn on here. She had mentioned in the chat box earlier that she has a 9-to-5 job, and I'm not too sure if she mentioned she also has a side business, and she's trying to to move away from the 9-to-5 job and move into the side business. So I'm not too sure. I just needed clarity from Dawn. Are we able at this time, Hattie, to engage our attendees if they unmute themselves?
She is muted, so Dawn, if you could unmute yourself. Okay. Can you try speaking, Dawn?
I don't think she can hear us.
Well, when I asked to unmute, and Amira, I see you are there. Can you unmute yourself? We'll use her as a test. Amira, could you put in the chat for Amira to unmute?
Yes, I can unmute myself. Who would you like to unmute? Everyone is unmuted that I'm seeing here.
Dawn, D-A-W-N.
Yeah.
Oh, no, everyone is muted actually. Should I unmute everyone?
Yes, everyone, please.
Oh, I'm not able to do that. Maybe it's only our technical person that can do it.
Room A.
Could you unmute us all, please?
Okay, I'm just taking care of it. Just a second.
Which room is that? You don't know.
And if Dawn can speak, please let us know that you can hear us. Dawn?
Okay, right? She's
asking to unmute everyone.
Okay, I'll do it for you first.
Okay.
Okay, no worries. We'll just do what we can.
I've done that.
If everyone is unmuted now, Hattie?
Okay. Could Dawn say yes, so we know we have contact?
Yes, thank you. I felt like the invisible person.
Welcome, Dawn.
Oh,
Thank you. It's been like 35 minutes. I've been trying to wave my hand and get your attention. I know technology is challenging, so I can appreciate that.
Oh, so sorry for that.
That's okay. That's okay.
And so we understand that your question has to be, you're
Hold on
sort
one
of in the
second.
middle.
Oh, sorry about that. My daughter's talking to me too at one time.
Yeah.
You hear me?
Yes, we can, Dawn.
Okay. Okay. I have my secretary talking to me. Okay.
My understanding is that you're sort of in the
I have
middle right
multiple people talking to me at one time. I apologize. Yes, I'm not sure which group I'm in. I didn't go into another group because I wasn't able to
This
see
has
the
to do
link.
with developing your business idea.
What is it?
Started.
Yeah.
Developing
Okay.
your business idea.
Okay, see, that wasn't my question, but I do have a business. Okay, so my background is a hodgepodge of technology, not engineering. But it's not a full-time work, right? It doesn't keep me, it doesn't keep my bills paid. It's just another source of income. And what happens is I can't focus on my business and still work a second job and raise a child and still keep the income coming in. So I'm trying to figure out, do I have to look for funding? Now, my business started out as website design and development, where I focused on nonprofits and entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that are doing wonderful things for their community and helping them have a digital footprint or a presence that they could draw more people to service, right? So they can reach their mission of education or awareness or providing some type of quality of life product, right? They don't need to have to worry about also figuring out their technology. And so I'm there as more of their IT technology consultant. And my background is in, it's human resources, but it also, I changed careers into technology, meaning that I can help those that are helping the community by looking at their technology needs, looking at their business, and then helping them find the right technology that supports that business, right? So they don't have to focus on the technology, they can focus on helping the community. So it's been slow ramping up. So in the meantime, I have to take contracting jobs on, and I might have to take a full-time permanent job to keep the income coming in. So how do I launch my business in a way that's sustainable? Because now my time is being split between multiple places. Does that make sense? I don't mean to babble.
Yes,
I got to keep the bills paid, but I need to get my business up and running.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Do you want to take a step or should I?
Okay, I'll try, Hattie, with my experience that I've just gone through over the last year, having lost my last role, Dawn. And I think going about the business of change when you are not under pressure is the best thing you can actually do for yourself, because you pace yourself in a way that makes you sustainable and makes you plan ahead for yourself. So when the carpet is pulled from under you, the carpet is pulled from under you and you have to get up and start all over again, it's a very painful situation to be in. Another thing that I want to say to you, Dawn, is if you have the passion, you really have the passion. If your business, which you are not giving much attention, if it could wake you up every morning without an alarm clock, then it's something that you should actually be doing. We all need to pay the bills. I went for a year without being able to pay bills. And I'm here today, but I've survived, So I just want to encourage a lot of people. We always seem to, to get stuck in that, in a hard rock place, because we think if we really toe the line, or if we cross the river of change, we will run into the risk, of not being able to pay bills and things like that. But it's something that you're really passionate about. And if it's something that you're really passionate about and you really need to grow your business, you will go all the way out. I'm not encouraging you to to just drop your business at this point in time, but perhaps start looking at a 6 months plan where you start, cutting down on your 9-to-5 job to actually give your business the best that it deserves at this point in time. So that's just from me.
And just so you'll know, I heard everything you said. I'm having a hard time hearing. It sounds like the technology people are in the background working out some issues. So can someone let them know to mute themselves?
Yes, I've been sending messages to ask them to mute themselves. I'm not too sure who's saying a lot in the background. The hosts are busy in the background. Okay. Hattie, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yes, I take myself for example. I have broad interests. I'm retired now, but I worked a full-time job.
Which room is it?
Was not a business, but I had a lot of community interests that required a lot of time.
Make you the host of our
And so I tried to align my activity. To send another message to them to pipe down a little bit. Dawn, can you hear me despite the chatter?
I am listening intently, trying to make sure I can hear.
Sure, Dawn.
What I'm saying is to plan for change.
Okay.
You may not be able to make the change